All right, this is fascinating, it is. But the fact remains is that you don't have the money to bring the mortgage up to date, so you're still gonna have to sell. I'm sorry, Ray. We got no choice.
Ray, people will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. For it is money they have, and peace they like.
Ray, just sign the papers.
And they'll walk out to the bleachers. And sit in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines. Where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game. And it'll be as if they'd dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick they'll have to brush them away from their faces.
Ray, when the bank opens in the morning, they'll foreclose.
People will come, Ray.
Tokyo's 2020 Olympics are already the most expensive summer games ever. And that's before the games have even taken place. The Japanese public is largely against them in the midst of a pandemic. And there's no guarantee they will happen at all. Now, the city of Tokyo, the International Olympic Committee, and athletes themselves are bleeding cash.
It all adds up, so money is stretched a little thin right now.
But the problems run deeper than the delay. So what makes the Tokyo Olympics so expensive? When Tokyo won the bid for the Olympics in 2013, the cost estimate was $7.3 billion. Today, expert estimates run to $26 billion. The problem starts with the venues, 43 of them to be exact. The National Stadium is meant to be the site of the opening and closing ceremonies, as well as track and field events and soccer. It was a financial disaster before a single brick was laid. Japan hired star architect Zaha Hadid for the design, but cost estimates quickly ran well over budget. And when the price hit $2 billion, the plan was scrapped. Version 2 didn't fare much better. Japanese architect Kengo Kuma designed the 68,000-seat stadium with a mix of steel and wood from every single one of Japan's 47 prefectures. The cost? $1.4 billion. The design of the gymnastics center basically didn't change, but the cost more than doubled by the time it was completed in 2019.
So yen's depreciation means import costs are much higher. So lots of construction materials are all imported from other countries. So that also gave rise to the additional costs in the construction sectors.
With 8 new venues and 10 temporary ones, costs added up quickly. There's a plaza for badminton and pentathlon, an aquatic center for swimming and diving, the volleyball arena, and of course, the canoe and kayak center. And that's just to name a few.
I'm here at the Olympic Village in Tokyo, and this is where around 18,000 athletes and officials will be staying during the Games. But the concern is that there could be a super spreader event at the Olympics. It's raised a huge logistical challenge for the organisers. You can't really create a kind of bubble situation for the Olympics. So what they're doing is they're creating controlled zones where they don't want people to leave. Controlling people and making sure that they follow various rules will be a huge challenge. So we are going to see how the organisers plan to make sure the world's biggest sporting event during the pandemic doesn't become a COVID hotspot. So this is where the athletes are going to be eating. Of course, the dining area is one of the places at the Olympics where people like to socialise normally, but that's one thing that the organisers want to avoid. It's a potential hotspot for virus transmission, so most of the athletes will be eating by themselves. So this is the fitness centre, and there are special precautions here as well, of course. The organisers here say that they will be asking athletes to wear masks. There's quite aggressive air circulation as well, but the machines are very close together, so this is a place where they are saying that if athletes come and it is very busy, they will be turning them away at the door. These are the condominiums that the athletes are going to be staying in here in the village, and you can get up to 8 athletes in one apartment. This is an event that's spread all over the country. It's all around the greater Tokyo region. It's even 500 miles away in Hokkaido in the north, where the marathon is going to be held. So the goal is to create this kind of archipelago of controlled zones across Japan. When people travel between the village, say, and the Olympic Stadium or other venues, there'll be dedicated bus and taxi links. There will be punishments that will be imposed on people that go into the city. The organisers even said that they want people to have the GPS tracking function turned on their smartphone when they come in.
Ray, people will come, Ray.
As the head of the International Olympic Committee flew into Tokyo today, there was yet another setback. Thomas Bach did his best to put a brave face on the latest restrictions. But a new state of emergency is being imposed in Japan's capital, just 15 days before the greatest sporting festival in the world is due to get underway. The Japanese Prime Minister insisted there was no alternative.
ここで再度東京を起点とする感染拡大を起こすことは
We must avoid another outbreak. The announcement came just hours before Japan said all spectators would be banned. The real problem is the slow rollout of vaccines. There have been only 15,000 deaths, far lower than the UK, but the most vulnerable won't be vaccinated until autumn. At a socially distanced press conference, Team GB officials digested the news.
That is sad when you've been watching the Euros and seeing how exciting live sport can be with fans back in stadiums, and it really does bring a lot of happiness to people. So we have a lot of sadness and regret around that decision for the Japanese people in particular, because it's a massive thing, as we know from 2012.
British sprinter Amani Lara Lancico has been building towards these games for years. She won a European Championship gold medal as part of the British relay squad, but understands Tokyo will be very different.
It kind of feels like month by month we're having to adjust to even more changes, even more things in place. The testing, the loss of the kind of feel of the Olympic Village, getting to explore, getting to really be at the Olympics and experience the whole process properly. It's kind of been taken away a little bit.
We've just heard that no spectators are going to be allowed to go to any of the venues. Do you think that's going to spoil this Olympics for you?
It is heartbreaking that it's not going to be the glittery event that I had in my mind. It's not going to be with my granny and my dad in the crowd. But it is what it is. And after the 18 months that we've all had as a nation, I think this probably mounts on the pressure even more to want to perform and to shine and to bring home a medal.
The demands to abandon the Games have been ignored. They will go ahead. But the Olympic flame will be lit in an empty stadium, another victim of COVID.
15日に福島を出発した聖火リレーも残すところ東京都の10さあ皆様ご準備はよろしいでしょうか。松岡さんよろしいですか。
Ray? People will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Oh, of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. And they'll pass over the money without even thinking about it, for it's money they have. and peace they lack. And they'll walk out to the bleachers, sit in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines, where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game, and it'll be as if they dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick, they'll have to brush them away from their faces. People will come, Ray.